listen to podcasts at all?
No.
Not really.
I love how we're all like super excited about starting a podcast, but no one here listens to podcasts.
Well, I heard somewhere someone said like starting a podcast is the new let's start a band.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I don't think anyone's ever said
even
that.
easier of a
I
band
think people would rather listen to a band than listen to a podcast. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, that's
I
not
agree with that.
I think bands
people
are
would rather
probably a
do
little
podcast.
more entertaining than podcasts. Have you
I'm
guys listened to
saying-
like podcasts at all, like ever?
I mean,
Yeah,
the
every
Conan
once in a
one's
while.
pretty good.
Okay, like what? Like what have you listened to?
Conan.
Okay. You said Conan. My favorite's the Cold Ones. It's an Australian podcast with like these two dudes who they get just blasted at every single podcast. They just talk to these people, and it's so funny. Look as they go through the actual episode of the podcast itself.
Mhm.
It's like the very first like 30 minutes are pretty like, okay, this is pretty chill. It's lighthearted, and then the last like maybe like 30 minutes to an hour are just like subscribe to our Patreon as like all this crazy shit begins to happen, and
I feel like
it's super funny.
those episodes probably go for like a really long time. They're probably like they,
Oh, I
they have
bet.
to be like at least an hour and a half. Otherwise, like, what's the point in getting drunk? Because it doesn't like settle in. You know what I mean? Why are we talking about this?
Yeah.
You both are underage. I'm gonna get like canceled.
No, okay, I don't drink, but it's still a good podcast.
No, I know. Yeah. No, I get you. Speaking of, welcome back to GleeSpeak, everyone. Third episode.
Hi.
Small cast, but good cast. Good
OG
chill.
cast.
Good cast. Good chill people. We have August
Way
and
better
Henry.
than your roster last week.
Dude,
Way
the
better.
roster last week was fine. Did you guys listen to the
Yeah,
episode?
but
Did
I
you guys
was
listen to
in
the
it,
episode last
so-
week? No, you guys don't listen to podcasts.
No, I
Why would you
don't
have
listen
listened to
to
the episode?
podcasts.
I was gonna say I don't.
I don't listen to something unless I'm in it.
You know what's funny though is I also don't listen to our podcast.
No, quality control doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We do it. and
I was
we
like,
move
yeah,
on.
I was like, I'm in the podcast. I know what we talked about. Why do I have to go back and watch the podcast?
I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
so I could like whisper the most heinous things under my breath, and you just wouldn't.
Well, okay, I do go back because I
We'll
did
go
go back
right
and
over
edit
your
the
head.
first episode because there was like the two things that like Henry said that I was like, It was
Yeah,
like the
so,
one thing that Henry said. I was like, ah. So I went back and cut that out. And then I didn't listen to it, but I had to very poorly edit last week's podcast with Taylor and Rod and Uriah because we forgot to turn off the AC.
That's on you guys.
And you can, I know that is, but you can just like hear the AC the entire time, and it's like really loud. But also like I turned up the mic volume because I use this mic that I'm using right now to record the podcast for all four of us. So I had to put it down and like crank up the gain on this like a lot. And like when we would like laugh or like have a good time, we get like really loud, it would just like it was like blast your eardrums like cancer, just like
Yeah,
like
just
really loud.
unintelligible, like
Yes,
like, not
exactly.
word of penny.
So I went back, I loaded the podcast into Audacity, and I like looked through Audacity, and anytime I saw a spike, I just like lowered the volume in that individual section. So you'll just like, that's why when you like, if you listen to the last week's episode on Spotify, you'll hear just like these cuts that are just like a lot quieter because I turned down the podcast. I did not mess with it on YouTube.
It's fair.
I did not mess with the YouTube recording because it was too much work for the YouTube recording.
Hey, YouTube allows anything, so
I also like
don't.
hate video editing.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's so
Like video editing
It's so
is
bad.
a pain. It's so unfun and unboring, and you can't like listen to anything else because like you're trying to listen to the video so you know when to make the cuts. So it's just
Yeah.
like boring and egregious, and like that's why I like podcasts because like I'll stitch clips together, and so like making the video episodes for this podcast is not hard because I just like stitch longest time at the front, and then we're just chilling. But I
That's
just
the song you used at the beginning.
no, so I play like copyright free like upbeat podcast music.
Oh,
And
okay.
then I downloaded off of Instagram the video of us singing Longest Time Outside. And then I put
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And I put like the first like 15, 20 seconds of that at the beginning. And when like the intro music like starts winding down after like 20 seconds, after it gets exciting, then it like fades into the start of the podcast.
By the way, for anyone who watches that little video of us outside, if you go to the very end, you will see me go like this toward the camera.
Yeah, I know. It was so funny because I downloaded that and I noticed you just like panned to the camera. I'm like, what is this man doing?
I was like, I saw something out of like, cause I'm in the end,
Mm-hmm.
and she's right beside me, like right about here.
Mm-hmm.
And I look, and I'm like, I'm moving around as like I'm seeing, and if something catches my eye, and I'm just like, you know, as a human being, just gotta look, and I look at her, and I'm like, damn it, and I spring back.
What's also really awkward is I don't think you knew the girl who was recording it, which honestly, when you think about like the context, made it even funnier.
Yeah, Henry. When I watch that, I always just see Henry like. Yeah. I noticed like that, and you know, I was trying to like not make it look very obvious that I was looking directly at the camera.
Mm-hmm. You know what's funny is I would feel like, because I like have like the Spotify for Podcasters app on my phone, so I get like all of the like statistics on like the age demographic of who watches our podcast and that kind of thing. And I think I DM'd the server about this because I was like, either one of you guys are lying about your age, or we have people that are like older than 25 that are listening to this podcast.
Might be Stolman.
It might be. I'd buy that. Potentially.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I haven't spoken to her. She just got back from Europe.
Friend.
What, Henry?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
She follows us on Instagram.
She did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I noticed that as well.
Based.
But me and August's friend Michelle. Shout out to Michelle. She's gonna hate that. But she listened to the whole thing, and last night I was talking to her, and she gave me out all these good pointers. So,
Wait, she listened to the whole podcast?
I think so. Like, and the way she found it was like YouTube Shorts, I think, or like something like that.
Like the YouTube algorithm. That's crazy.
And she's like, I was not
aware. Wait, YouTube
of
or Instagram?
Yeah, I feel like it was YouTube, but
that's crazy if it was YouTube, because the YouTube algorithm is nutty. Like, because like YouTube like tries to promote like what's like gaining lots of traction, and this is not what would be gaining lots of traction.
No,
that's crazy that YouTube would recommend to anyone our podcast. That's crazy. I've had now because social media works a little bit differently. I had so Lily, who's gonna be our choir president next year, she doesn't have Instagram, but she found out about this podcast because her roommate, who's not affiliated with choir at all, got the Instagram recommended to her.
Yeah.
Well, it's also like if it detects that like the phone that owns the Instagram account is like connected in some way, it'll say, "Hey, if you know this person."
But I don't think I put a phone number in for. I don't think you have. Do you have to put? Do you have to put in a phone number to make an Instagram account? Because I don't think you have to put in a phone number.
It runs off of some weird algorithms. I know that.
Because I think one thing that also probably helps is I followed GU Choirs. So like the only follower that the podcast Instagram has is GU Choirs, and so probably it's like if you also follow GU Choirs, because I think that they also tries to recommend you new accounts and stuff like that. So my guess is like if you follow GU Choirs and this is a new account, it's probably just gonna try and like put it in your face. Because like I remember like looking at the statistics on the Instagram for like all of our reels and stuff like that, and like all the clips that I post from our podcasts and stuff like that. And they have, like, a couple hundred views, which, like, I think it's because of, like, they're recommending to Instagram. Now, obviously, most of them don't transfer over to the actual podcast. Because the actual podcasts themselves actually have a little more traction than I thought, I'm not going to lie. But...
Yeah, no, we have some good views, but also I know that, like, one view isn't just, like, one person watching it. It's every time one person watches it.
Right, every time one person clicks. Well, really?
I think there's a certain limit.
I think there's a limit. Like if I start, like if I watch 5 minutes of a video, click off and click back, like click off and a few days later come back, is that really two different views? I don't think so.
I know the way
because YouTube remembers where you left off, and like if you don't finish a video, YouTube remembers where you left off in that video, which makes it hard for me to believe if it actually counts as two separate views.
Well, I know the way it works on Twitter is every time you see 2 seconds of a video with half of the video in frame, that's a view.
Yes. Twitter works different than YouTube, I think.
Twitter works, well, everything works different. I imagine Facebook and Instagram are the only ones that are semi-similar.
Yeah.
Or similar.
Facebook and Instagram, I think, are also you watch at all, it's a view. But it's just like, because YouTube, it's hard for me to believe that YouTube, I don't actually know this, so don't quote me, but it's hard for me to think that YouTube actually does that because YouTube remembers where you left off in your video, assuming you're logged in. So,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we're actually getting unique views on YouTube. But that's the other thing.
I mean,
more people would rather watch us on YouTube than listen to us on Spotify. Because we have like 5 times the traction on YouTube than on Spotify.
They want to see Henry's beautiful face.
It's true.
Yeah. I mean, to some extent, like, me getting up and, like, running around my room, I was told that was funny by one person. So...
Okay, I want to come back. What did Michelle say about the podcast? Because you said she was giving you pointers.
Yeah,
like, is our podcast really that bad? Like, are we really that bad?
Well, we were just talking about it, and I just used that term as a means to say, like, we were talking about it, and she said some stuff about it.
So she
That's
like,
all I meant by that.
So she didn't hate the podcast. Well, I mean, she probably
No,
could still hate the podcast. I don't care. You can hate the podcast for all I care.
Yeah.
Most people
But
are probably not going to like the podcast. We don't talk about choir.
Yeah.
I mean, we do, but we don't really. I mean, we're recording for, 11 minutes? And we haven't talked about choir once?
Well, what do you want?
Other than the video of me going, like...
Oh, that's true. Other than that, other than like the opening, other than talking about the Instagram, and then like talking about social media algorithms, it like actually blows my mind that like how, well, just like as someone who's like in data and like that's like my major and like going into data analysis and that kind of thing, seeing how YouTube like or like other platforms promote certain videos, I think is so weird. You know the other thing that's weird about YouTube that I didn't realize we're kind of getting into this era is like, and like it's happened before, but I feel like it doesn't really happen a lot, is like people selling their YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Like as a thing. Like this is really old news, so I can't believe I didn't know this, but I found out the other day that Game Theory, like MatPat sold all of his channels. Like Game Theory, Film Theory, and Food Theory, and Game Theory Live, he sold all of it.
Wait, so is he still running them?
So he's still the host of the channel, and he still owns the parent company that like consults like what those channels do. But at the end of the day, he is not in control. He does not have complete creative freedom over his channels anymore.
So
like if the company that bought Game Theory wants to make a video on a certain topic, he has to make a video on that. Technically, like if that parent company was like that, but I think that parent company is very like understanding of his creativity because like obviously Game Theory has been around for over a decade. It clearly works. So I think he still has like a lot of creative freedom, and he does still host the show, but he did sell the show. And I don't think
it might be.
Go ahead.
It might be kind of like a Hank Green, John Green situation where they haven't sold their channels, but they're kind of like run by different people. But Hank Green, John Green still own the company above them that work with all those like individual channels.
Right.
So like Crash Course, and there's so many variations of Crash Course.
Mm-hmm.
I know obviously he hasn't sold any of those, but I think it's the same idea where like he has people who come in and take over Game Theory, Film Theory, and Food Theory. However, they still go through MatPat, and essentially just like it's like giving his channel just new host.
But the thing with except that MatPat is still the host of it. It's like the opposite. MatPat is still the host, but because he actively sold his channels, if the company that bought them wants to do something different with the channels, he has to let that happen because he doesn't own the channels anymore. Whereas with Crash Course, Hank and John Green still approve of all the content, I believe, that goes on a Crash Course, but they hire different hosts.
Yeah,
and they hire hosts from their fields that do well, but they still can, like, if the content's not good, they can still be like, we don't want this on our channels.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
but
go ahead.
You brought me down memory lane, so I went in,
Okay.
and I looked up Game Theory, right?
Okay.
And I scrolled down a little bit. There's one that's like, which U.S. president is an epic gamer?
Oh.
As a result of, the AI presidents thing.
Oh, mm-hmm.
And all I'm saying, I don't want to get political, but I think the Don would be the most epic gamer. Can we all agree on that?
I feel like he would be the kind of person, like the old, like this is before your August and Mai's time. Maybe you know this more, Trevor. But like the Call of Duty lobbies, I feel like he would be that kind of character,
No,
like that kind of mentality.
You wouldn't survive a Call of Duty lobby. Like one of those guys.
I'm so bad at Call of Duty. I'm really honestly bad at any shooter. I like.
That's why I play story-based games. I love story-based games.
Give me a 2D give me like a 2D Mario. Which, oh my god, you guys are not Nintendo fans, are you?
I think you're talking about that new 2D Mario game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see
that one.
saw that trailer.
Mario Wonder.
Yeah.
Elephant Mario, guys.
Dude,
Mario.
okay. Here's the problem, because I like I like at one point in my time was the best in the world at 2D Mario. Like a specific game in the 2D Mario series. So like I've poured hundreds of hours into 2D Mario. And I think just by like pouring hundreds of hours, it's just like so sterilized to me. Is that the right word? That like the new 2D Mario is like kind of mid in my opinion. Like the turning into an elephant. Yeah, okay, so for those that don't know, 2D Mario, Nintendo has not made a new 2D Mario game since 2013. So it's been 10 years since a new 2D Mario. And the 2D Mario that came out in 2013 was actually DLC to a 2D Mario that came out in 2012. So really, a new original 2D Mario hasn't been around for over 10 years. And then they made a new 2D Mario called Mario Wonder, where the whole gimmick is you like grab this like power-up called the Wonder Flower, and something random will happen in the level. Like, the best way to describe it that everyone's like been equating it to is like basically you're going on an acid trip. It's like the best way to describe it, because like pipes will start moving like worms, or a bunch of animals will start stampeding at you, or you'll turn into like a spiky ball that starts rolling around. Something like really weird, and it's completely unpredictable and dependent on the level. And I don't know, I'm not a fan of that mechanic. It just does not seem exciting. Hopefully I'll come around when it comes. I'm gonna buy it when it comes on launch day, because again, I've spent so many hours in 2D Mario. I'm gonna speedrun it. So like, I'm gonna buy it on launch day.
Do you think that'll affect like the speed running kind of situation?
Oh
where,
yeah,
like,
I think it's gonna be.
It's always like
it's gonna be an.
It's gonna be like.
Yeah, it's gonna be an incredibly popular speed game for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not planning on like getting good at it, because I don't have the time that I used to like actually grind to be the best in the world. But I'll play it and try and get a decent time. Because my other worry is like I'm not a fan of content creators speedrunning. I think it's good content when they're not good. But when they start getting good, or like if they were a content creator first, then speedrunner, to like as a way to like continue bolstering their content, and they get really good, that like rubs, I can't describe why, but it like rubs me the wrong way. Versus like if you were first, just like Simply or something like that, like a world record holder of Mario 64, first a speedrunner, then a content creator. So like all this to say is like if a bunch of content creators start running this game and getting good, you know I'm gonna be grinding the frick out of Mario Wonder just to be better than all the content creators.
Didn't we agree we could say fuck on this?
No, we did. I just didn't want to say it.
Why did you say frick?
I just wanted to say that. I just didn't want to say.
He's a good Christian man.
I just didn't.
Loves Trevor.
It didn't feel
horrid.
You love.
You know,
Jesus
one thing
Christ.
I've been thinking about is Stolman said this. I think she said this in Glee when she dropped a good old F-bomb, and it was like the one time she had done that the entire school year, and she was like, "You just gotta know when." You know what I mean? It's like there's the right moment for it. You just gotta know when to drop the bomb.
Yeah, like every 2 seconds.
Because then it's more exciting and better. You know what I mean? And that just like is not. I don't know. Just wasn't exciting enough to like cause
That's
for the
fair.
swear. It's like I play video games. Who literally cares? But yeah, I'll be buying. I think the game is mid. I hate the elephant. I hate the talking flowers. Because there's like NPC flowers that talk, and they are so annoying. They are so
It's
annoying.
Mario, dude. Everything.
But nothing talks in Mario. These things talk. They talk and they're, oh my god, dude. They talk and they're like, roll, roll, roll. Like, shut up. No one cares. Let me play the game in peace.
Shut up. I don't want to hear you.
And the fact that, like,
that's
and the dude, I'm not a fan of the elephant power up. It looks cursed. It looks so cursed.
It is odd. Why
Like,
elephant?
they
Of
end
all
the trailer
creatures,
and
why
not
elephant?
like not only why elephant, but like why like in Mario 3D World, he at least turned into a cat, but like was like wearing a suit, so he was just like a furry.
Mm.
I'm low-key down for that versus turning into the literal animal. Okay, like when you actually turn into an
bipedal
actual
elephant, let's go, boys.
elephant, that like
Sounds like you're not a big fan of Ben 10.
yeah, like the turning into the actual animal, I'm just like.
Sorry.
I know, it's all good. But so
My
yeah,
younger sister came in and was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm sitting here, Rebecca."
I think the game is gonna be mid. I think I'll probably change my mind when it comes out. But I mean, me and Uriah are gonna play it when it comes out. So, well,
No,
probably
I get
100% in like a week, and then the next week, start speedrunning it. See what we can get done. It's just tough because it comes out at like a really busy time for Choir, because it comes out on October 20th. So it comes out the week before tour. And it's just like, because we got like a bunch of Choir events, and then like the musical, like pretty shortly thereafter. So like finding time to like play it is gonna be tough, especially because this fall is gonna be really tough for me, like school
I
wise.
usually use like game releases that I'm pretty excited about. Like, I just save them for after I'm really busy as like a reward, which used to work pretty well. But I feel like with the onset of like Instagram Reels and TikTok and YouTube Shorts, people are just so much more down to just spoil the shit out of anything anymore.
True.
I went on a fast of Jedi Survivor spoilers, for like the entirety of May before I got it, and then before I watched Spider-Verse, I had to like scroll through like 50 reels to get to one that didn't have a spoiler in it.
Do they like
Canon event.
do those like
Yeah,
kinds
no,
of
canon event shit.
do those like kinds of reels give you like warnings that it's gonna be a spoiler?
No, they don't, because everything is go, go, go. You gotta get their attention fast. And so they just
That's
like put the
annoying.
spoiler in the first second.
That's why I don't watch. Well, that's why I'm not on TikTok. And a lot of that, I watch reels. Mostly it's YouTube Shorts. I don't watch Instagram Reels or.
I feel like YouTube Shorts is the worst of them, though.
Yeah, but it's because YouTube is the platform I'm on the most. Like, I don't like watching TV or movies, but I watch a ton of YouTube. Like, I still consume, like, probably 1 to 2 hours of YouTube a day. Like, YouTube is where I honestly should consider buying YouTube Premium, because like I wouldn't watch Netflix or Hulu or Amazon or anything like that, but I wouldn't mind not having ads on YouTube, you know what I mean? Because I like spend so much of my time on that platform, and so that's why I get Shorts, because like that's just where I spend the most time. I don't even have a TikTok account, and I don't spend that much time on Instagram. It's like I wake up and I go to bed, and like maybe once in the middle of the day while I'm eating lunch. And it's not for more than like 2 or 3 minutes. So YouTube is like the only place that I can get those kinds of short content. And it's honestly not that bad.
For me, I had TikTok last year, and I did see like a perceivable change in my personality and my actions. So I rectified that issue real quickly. And I found that YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels are so shit in my mind that I just don't want to be on them for long periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be on YouTube Shorts like maybe 10 minutes, and I'm like, wait, this stuff is actually bad, and then I'll just do something else.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird way of like, I use them a lot, but it's like very short in increments throughout the day. And it kind of just comes down to like 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
As we go throughout
the day. I think it's
Yeah.
funny because there was a moment where Taylor was like, I deleted TikTok. I'm not going to be on TikTok. And then like would spend an equal amount of time just on like Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts.
I mean,
And it's like sure maybe it's worse content, but it's like the same kind of like it's the same type of content, you know what I mean? Or like the same medium. It's like the same just because you're not like you can't like sure, okay, you're not on actual TikTok, but it's the same. That's just where the world is going. Is short form video. Like real short form.
yeah.
And viewable on a smartphone. So you're not really avoiding it anymore by like deleting TikTok. You're just putting the problem elsewhere.
Yeah. Occasionally, I stay on them because occasionally there is like a trend that is really fucking funny, and I want to watch every single iteration of that trend. Currently, it's the Grimace milkshake shit. That stuff is so funny to me.
It
I
is
don't know
funny.
why, but people get really creative with that one. Most of the time, it's just people like throwing themselves in a lake and covering themselves in the Grimace shake, but still, that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, back to this Mario Direct. Or this Nintendo Direct, I should say. I just have to say, did y'all see the new Mario RPG that's getting remade?
No.
Yeah.
The remaster?
64?
It's SNES. It's
Yeah.
even older than 64.
Oh, okay.
It's really old. That's like one of
I
my
don't-
favorite games of all time.
Wait, which one?
Super Mario RPG.
Super Mario. I feel like I remember that one.
It was
but-
on the SNES. It's really old, but it's like one of the best RPGs ever made, in my opinion. And it's one of my favorite games of all time. And like it's probably in my top 5 favorite games of all time. That game.
You want to hear my number
it's
one?
really good. What's your
favorite
number
game?
one? Oh, you want to hear my number one, or you are going to say your number one?
Yeah, I'll do mine, then you can do
Okay,
yours
great.
if you like. My favorite is Prey from Arcane Studio. They make Dishonored, and a few other games. Prey is it set in space? It's like Art Deco. It's totally up my alley. And the best thing about it is throughout the game, there's ways of obviously achieving like through like achievements. You get points to better your character.
Hmm.
But the big emphasis on the game that makes it very cool in my mind is that let's say there's a heavy object in front of a door and you can't get past the door. You could, go throughout the game, find some more points, and then gain the ability to pick up that box. Or if you're, smart enough or you have a way of getting around it, like let's say there's a ceiling vent, like a few like doors down that you just go through and then get into the room. The ability to just simply get around problems or kind of just it felt like if you're a real human being and you come up to a problem like, okay, I can't get past this door because there's the box. In most games, you have to like fix it throughout going the game, but in this one, you can just think your way through it and find ways to get around it. And plus, the combat system's great. I love space. It's like my favorite thing in the world. I love
it's
like
like
the science behind it.
It's
as
like a
well.
puzzle type game?
No, it's like a shooter as well.
Okay.
Like there's like this alien like
Isn't it like a
Oh.
stealth or something like that?
something like that. It's one of those
Horror
games where like yeah, like it's like psychedelic horror a little bit, not psychedelic, just horror, I guess. But that's my favorite, and I think I highly recommend it to anyone. It's well worth it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like what I would put in my top 5. 1, 2, 3.
I can go while you're
Yeah, you
thinking.
go. I have at least 4 that I would put in my top 5.
So
But you
I
go.
know it's not. I know like it's got serious flaws with it and everything, but my top game, honestly, probably Halo Infinite. Like I was there when that game released. I loved that game. It was amazing. I played some of the workshop like they before they released it, they would have like an early access thing where I lied about my age because you technically had to be 18 to do it and I was 17 at the time. But it was like, you would demo play it, send any bugs or glitches to the developers, and so it was a fun way to demo it. I have sunk in a little around 200 hours into it in the 2 years it's been released.
Oh,
Which
please.
was-
200 hours is nothing.
Well, I also had to go to college in that time and graduate high school. It was a bit of a
Fair.
busy time in my life.
Fair. What's
But
the most amount of hours you guys have put into a video game?
I would say Prey, 600.
Okay.
I have a friend
I already
who's
played
got
the shit out of it. I loved it.
I have a friend who's got like 900 in Payday 2. But let's see.
I think
I'm gonna bring out the.
I've been speedrunning Mario 64 technically since I was a sophomore in high school. So probably, oh my god, that means I've been running that game for like 6 or 7 years at this point. But I think over the entire time I've been speedrunning, I've probably sunk like 2,000 to 3,000 hours into Mario 64, which is crazy. And most of that has been since I got to college, because I didn't really get good until I got to college, and then I sunk a ton of hours into that game.
There's a dark alternate timeline where I sunk half of my life into Destiny 2, and I'm glad I avoided that timeline.
Oh. Yeah, I've sunk like probably a couple thousand hours into Mario 64. And then I've sunk, I think it's like 800 or 900 hours into the game that I had world record in at one point. The 2D Mario. New Super Luigi U. So, I have a lot of hours in speedrunning. More than I would care to admit. You know what's also funny is I also am not a big Smash Bros. Fan. I don't really like Smash Bros. But my roommates, especially Uriah, is like straight up addicted to Smash Bros. Like really, really, really like Smash
It's
Bros.
a really good game.
And I leave my Switch generally out in the living room because I don't really have time to play during the school year. So I don't usually keep it in my room. I'll bring it to my room like occasionally if I'm like playing online or like playing Mario Kart or a shoot or something like that. I like so that other people can like play Xbox out there or something like that. But otherwise, I leave my Switch out there in the living room, and Uriah will just like play on my Switch when I'm like not even home. Just like play Smash Bros. And I went into my junior year of hold on, I'm gonna like pull my Switch out and like figure out where is it. Oh, it's over there. I actually don't want to go get it. But I put like I don't want to get up and walk. It's back there. But I like going into this semester had like just over 100 hours in Smash, and I got my Switch this summer going into my senior year of high school. So I'd had my Switch for, 3 years at that point, and I had 100 hours in 3 years, which like I think just says that I really only played it with like siblings and stuff like that, or like friends. I never really played it by myself. The end of my junior year of college, we had over 350 hours in Smash. So in 9 months or whatever, however long it takes to do one academic year of college, I think it's like 9 months. In 9 months, we as an apartment sunk like 200 hours. I think it's actually more than that. Hold on. I actually like want to know.
To everyone that's has clicked away because this is not their interest, I don't blame you, but this is fun. Really I like this a lot.
I do want to say, the new Star Wars game, the Jedi Survivor game, it's been out for like a month or so, and I've already sunk 100 hours into that one. I've replayed it like 4 times. 460
hours in Smash.
Dang.
And I went into my junior year with just over 100 hours. That's how much Smash we played in our apartment. We played like 350 hours of Smash over the course of the entire school year. And we were in college. So like we were busy, and we put 350 hours in over 9 months. Like how many days is that? 350 divided by 24? That's 2 weeks. 2 weeks of our college life was Smash Bros. In raw hours.
That's not your college life. That is your life.
That is my life. Like 2 hours of my life was Smash Bros. Last year in the last 9 months. That's crazy.
And you're never getting that back.
I have spent a whole. Hold up. Now let's find out the number of hours I put into my speedrunning game. Because that's where it gets really scary. 865.
The math major is coming out so hard right
865 divided by 24. I've spent over a month of my life raw speedrunning. Over a month. 36 days. That's so bad.
You heard it here first, folks. You spend that much time raw.
Okay, now you guys are just being weird. Now you're just being.
Bro,
Like,
you said that. You said
I don't.
that.
Okay, but you're just like okay.
This man right here, officer.
Whatever.
Okay, I do have to kind of in the same vein. I've been playing this game recently that's so good. It's called Disco Elysium.
Oh, I've heard of that. Griffin.
Dude.
Was it Griffin who probably told? I bet it was probably Griffin. Griffin tells me about
Oh,
all
no,
these
no.
random games. He probably
I just saw
I
it.
probably first introduced. I was probably first introduced by it from him.
Okay. He never told me about it. I saw it on YouTube one day, and I was like, "This is so good," because kind of my niche in video games is really good stories, and then like really cool like art. For some reason, that's what really gets me. And Disco Elysium is like the best like art design I've ever seen. Story is I think it's the top story based game this year, if not last 5 years, because it is so good. And right now, sadly, if you want to buy it, it's has a little controversy because people who made it, like the original guys, they've been thrown out of the company. That's
Oh.
not neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm.
That's something to be aware of. You want to do research into that. But if it were ever to become less of a problem, I recommend that game 10 out of 10. I still haven't finished it. I've spent 40 hours in it. Same run, have not finished, and I've done so much stuff. It's so good. But yeah,
What cryptocurrency should I invest in?
none.
Don't.
None?
Don't.
Dude.
We're not doing.
But,
Dude,
like,
we're not
I wanna
doing
get
this.
rich.
You're not gonna
Like
get rich off
Dogecoin.
crypto. I'm sorry.
No, I am. I'm sure of it.
It's like gambling, bro. It's like gambling.
Exactly, dude.
That's
Winning
why you
gambling
shouldn't
ever gone
do
wrong
it.
for me.
The math major's like, you can't do this. Like, look at the numbers. Pulls out like a little sheet, like this is the numbers.
Pretty much.
So someone told me once that I'd actually be like pretty good in like real gambling, because there's a strategy.
Yeah, you'd be
you
pretty
do
good. You'd make
in
like $50
blackjack.
after sinking like 5,000.
Well, there's a strategy in blackjack called counting cards, where you count which cards have already came out, because there's like 4 decks in a standard blackjack deck.
Mm-hmm.
And you count the number of cards that have already come out and their values and stuff like that. And then you kind of like guess based on what's already come out, and it's a really good way of like earning money fast. So to any listeners of this podcast, just,
We're
like,
not promoting
start
gambling
counting
on this podcast. We are not promoting gambling. No,
listen,
no,
yeah.
don't
Everyone to be
address
aware
the
of.
viewers.
Every
No,
gambler
no,
quits right before they make it big.
no.
That's
Okay, first off, counting cards, I'll say this, is not illegal in any casino. However, number 2, you will be thrown out. No, like if you go to Vegas, you can count cards. However, there is whole technology that's literally looks at a person and says, we have a this percent chance that they're counting cards. And if they find out you did that, and if it's just like just you, your brain, and you doing the counting, that's totally fine. They will make you leave the casino, and they may bar you from coming back. However, you won't get like fined or like arrested. But don't count cards unless you can do it really well.
All I'm saying.
Why do they not promote it? Because
bringing
they
back
end up
to
losing
Las
money if a
Vegas
bunch of people do it well. Is
Yeah.
that the idea?
Yeah.
Yeah. that
Essentially,
makes
you're just
sense.
like it's like taking like I don't know, it's like taking a 1 in a million chance and making it like 1 and maybe like 100, or
Which is
maybe
still
for,
not
like,
great.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
what I'm
definitely.
trying to say here is, if you're feeling
No,
lucky,
you're not.
bet
You're
it
not
all.
trying to say anything. You're not trying to say anything. Actually, right now,
Bet
I'm not gonna
everything.
lie.
Bet the house.
No,
again,
no.
August and I are not old enough to even go to casinos, except for like a select few,
Yeah.
like that
Do
are
you need
meant
to
for
be
like
21 to get into
18-year-olds.
casinos too?
Some of them, not all of
It's
them.
technically
Some of them.
legal, but a lot of casinos also serve alcohol.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
They have a
why.
lot of other things that are more 21 plus. So it's more like a lot of them bar you because they also just serve that stuff. Because
Right.
like, what else are you gonna do in a casino other than eat and drink?
well, and like drinking is how they get people to make stupid decisions to lose more money. Because I
Also,
think
how they
that
make
like
money as well.
yeah,
To win.
because my parents when they go to Vegas, they go to the casinos and they'll do like the dollar slot machines. And then they'll just be able to take alcohol for free, because they usually just give out alcohol for free at casinos because the more you drink, the more rash decisions you make, and therefore the more they end up winning. So they're even willing to give out alcohol as long as you actually play. And so my parents would be like, "We'll play." Insert $1 into the slot machine. Walk around the casino with their alcohol and be happy with their lives. It's honestly not like if you're looking for cheap alcohol, that's like the smart way to do it in Vegas. Walk into a casino and play the slot machines, like the cheap slot machines.
And then you bet it all.
No. That's just how you have a good time in Vegas without having to do that. I just tell the story about my parents when they go to Vegas, okay? I've actually never been to Vegas. I also don't know that I want to go to Vegas. Like, I'm a rising senior. There's that Vegas trip that, like, happens for the college players. I'm totally not going on that.
I feel like for me, it's kind of like going to New York or LA. It's so, like, well known in, like, the American mindset. Like, It's New York. It's beautiful. LA is the same way. I think Vegas has that same allure. If you go, like, once or twice in your whole life, that's all you really need.
Yeah.
Because Vegas compounds everything into one space. You can do a ton in that, in 3 days, 4 days that you're there, and then you can move on.
Yeah.
But going there at least once is worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I don't... Do I really want to go with a bunch of college seniors and also watch basketball? Is that why I want to go to LA?
Somehow it doesn't.
Vegas?
I mean Vegas. Yeah, that, whatever the city is.
Big difference between LA and Las Vegas.
Was it?
I mean,
Dude,
is it?
I tried putting Vegas. It is the state capital for Nevada. That was embarrassing.
Carson City, buddy. Carson City.
For you people on the video on the audio pod or just on the listening in general. Before we recorded the podcast, did a state capitals quiz. And we did really bad. Like we did really bad.
That is passing.
We did
grade.
really bad.
I was not here for that. I would have given all the Midwestern ones easily.
I am ashamed that I forgot Jefferson City.
Don't be. It's not. It doesn't exist in my personal opinion.
I have family in Missouri. Like, I feel like I should know that one.
Okay, now that we've done it once, should we get on and do it again just to say we got all 50? Like, just like bang it out, see if we can get all 50.
No, we got a passing grade, 50%.
That's not passing. That's not passing. Unfortunately,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I feel like if we went back and did it again, we still wouldn't get all 50.
Dude,
even with Henry here,
is amazing in a physics class.
That's true. That's true. 50% in a physics. That's why I'm worried for this fall. I have to take physics 2. I've already talked about this on the podcast, but the fact that I have to take physics 2 this fall.
I think it's like pretty much physics 2 is like a lot of electrons and like circuits and stuff.
Yeah, it's like circuits and magnetism, circuits and magnetism, and probably a bit of thermo.
Yeah, bitch, magnets.
Yeah, but the math for magnets is hard.
I don't think you got
the math for magnets is like Calc 3.
I do.
I haven't done Calc 3 since I was a senior in high school.
Yeah, we got the math major, the engineering major, and then poli-sci.
I'm political science and environmental studies. I like talking, and I like plants. That makes me happy. Therefore, I do it.
Therefore, he's going to go into plant law.
Plant law, plant government.
Technically, you're not wrong. But there's a lot more to it than just plants by itself. Like land management, the zoning laws, that kind of stuff.
I feel like you probably could get hired really easily as a park ranger.
Yeah.
Dude, like if I could just work for the EPA, just like right outside of college, I think. Just get to know a guy, and I know a guy.
You just have to know a guy.
Dude, that's
future career paths.
It's literally like that.
Our future career paths are data scientist, plant law, Lockheed Martin, right?
Just make a combination like the most evil people ever. I just make it so like environmentalism cannot exist. You make August makes like the most craziest weapons.
Science collapses.
And Trevor just like exists. He just exists and then confuses everyone. So
I don't
know data.
My job is to not confuse people.
Yeah, I don't know what data
my job is to take people's information and use it to help predict the future so that businesses can make better informed decisions about where to go next with their products.
Bro, this guy's that Facebook thing, like the Academia. Oh, what was it? Like that Facebook. Yeah, like it's 2 words. That Facebook controversy where they're like getting information on everyone.
Oh, A/B tests. Well,
Uh,
that's what they were doing. That was like bad. I think was A/B tests. It's like
I'm just gonna build.
I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact controversy, but yes, that would be where I would be involved in. Yes, unfortunately, that's why ethics is like a pretty important part of like our education. Although I wouldn't say it's very prevalent here at Gonzaga, which is why I took philosophy of technology as a philosophy class because I need that kind of information.
There's a guy I know who's in engineering. I'm betting that the only class he's ever going to have trouble with is ethics.
And
everything else,
that's
that's took a bit to sink in.
Physics, all of that works out great for him. Ethics might be a little bit of a concern.
Or you could, I mean, all those like philosophy core classes are really easy to BS.
Yeah,
like that's just the reality. Yeah. Which reminds me,
cool.
Are you guys like ChatGPT users?
No,
of course not. Of course not.
I'm for real. I don't use it.
I believe that Henry doesn't use it. I was on the camp of I would never use it, and then I did some thinking because like it's AI. I work with AI in data science. Like I make my own AI models to like that's how I use AI for predictions so that I can. That's how I help companies make better informed decisions about their business is using AI to predict where products will go in the future. So I'm interested in AI and I follow that kind of stuff. And so like part of like the concern about AI is like you have to train it on stuff. And so the important thing is like what is it being trained on? And it's just trained on everything on the internet. Prior to like what was it, like 2018 or something? I don't remember the exact year. But it says on ChatGPT like it's trained on everything up to I think it's 2021 now. Anything like before 2021, it's like trained on. And so like when it generates its answers, it's based on information that's been generated prior on the internet prior to 2021. The reason I say all of this is because you can like if I'm a programmer, right? And quite often I don't know what I'm doing. And so I have to go and Google like how to rotate my x-axis labels on my plot by 45 degrees. Like I Google, like that's like an example of something I would Google because like I don't know very niche, you know. I'm not so good at programming that I know all these niche like things. You know what I mean? And like after I Google it and I read through articles and documentation, like yeah, I figure it out. But like I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not like,
yeah,
I don't know that off the top of my head all the time. But like since ChatGPT just like sorts on everything on the internet already, what I've kind of realized is if I'm going to go and Google information, it is faster for me to ask ChatGPT because ChatGPT since it's trained on all that information, ChatGPT will effectively find that information for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I just have to read the ChatGPT output instead of having to read the articles. So there's ways to use it as like a positive tool rather than like a cheating mechanic. Like I'm not telling ChatGPT code my homework for me. But I am asking ChatGPT, hey, I legitimately forgot how to rotate my x-axis labels by 45 degrees. Can you just tell me how to do that real fast? And it, like, saves me time overall.
Yeah. The thing is, like, that AI is perfectly fine on, like, the positive situations. Mm-hmm. Like you just said. Understanding, like, can I somehow take all the information on Google and somehow subtract it to the amount that'll benefit me?
Yeah.
Like, almost instantly, which you've done. However, the issue is, in that same like idea, there's a whole other idea where it's like, but hey, I can ask it for whatever I want. So then you have like, write me an essay about X, Y, and Z, or code this, or do a ton of other things. Mm-hmm. My issue is when you have people, let's say in the medical field, a doctor is looking up like, how do I cut open a heart?
Yeah.
Or how do I dissect it with the left aorta when the patient is having congelation of its platelets and the brain is hemorrhaging. Like that is stuff that happens in a medical field. And theoretically, maybe you could look that up and it might tell you. However, that doesn't make any sense. It's when basically you use ChatGPT to make everything so easy that it becomes almost unimportant to learn. And it's
Well, the other thing with
think,
ChatGPT is you
something
need
to
to have. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, August.
I was just gonna say something to consider is I see a lot of people say like the medical field or the engineering field or any of these fields like are gonna suffer, like the resultant of this chat GPT generation is gonna suffer because they have it so easy, they have all the answers available to them, and they kind of forget like Chegg was a thing before chat GPT. Like before AI gave you the answer, people gave you the answer. There was always an answer on the internet. It's just now you don't have to pay for it.
well, that might change.
Well, already you can, if you want better ChatGPT, more accurate, better trained model ChatGPT, you do have to pay. So there are AI models that are out there that you would have to pay in order to get better results.
It's a similar thing. Like you can get a free version of like a physics answer.
Yeah.
Online. I forget the name of the specific website, but it's very dog shit, but it gives you somewhat of an answer.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Chegg, where they give you like
the difference between Chegg though and ChatGPT is like ChatGPT is more likely to give you a wrong answer because it's not confirmed by a human. So, like, in order to use ChatGPT effectively, you have to still have basic knowledge. Like, because I've been pretty frequently asking ChatGPT for help with code, and I will often have to change things pretty significantly. So it's not like it's not like I'm worried that ChatGPT is going to take over my job, because I still have to know how to code, because it's not going to give me the right code all the time. So I still have to know how to make the graph. And it might, you know what I mean? It's like, it's still a tool, but that's why you can't, like, give it, like, tell me write an essay. Like, when you ask it to do bigger things like that, that's when you start falling apart. Like, I can't tell it to write my philosophy paper. I mean, I did do that, but, like, I did things like it would ask one specific question within the whole essay, and I'd ask the one specific question. Because of, you know what I mean? Like, I don't ask it to write my philosophy paper. I ask it, what was this one philosopher's point again on this? That it tells me very, very accurately.
And I think I don't disagree with that. And I think it's like many companies would have to take a conscious effort to then get rid of humans and then add in computers, which many people are just going to hate outright. And I think like if any job has a union, that is not happening. People want to work. No matter what anyone tells you, people want to work. They don't want to get replaced. The whole mentality, like, I don't want to get replaced by a machine, that still exists, and AI is a machine. And I think there's so many different variables in AI. There's like the really simple stuff, like for example, Grammarly. It now has an AI that will help you. You can ask it a question saying, reword this, and it will do that. I have used that, but I still write this stuff. I still wrote a whole essay, like multiple finals. I did that. Then I said, hey, this doesn't make any sense. Could you reword it? And half the time it works, half the time I hate it, and then I reword it again. But it's a nice way to get your brain to like kind of shift in a different direction.
Yeah.
And that's one side. And then there's a whole another side where it's like, YouTube Shorts has a lot of these. They'll be like, oh, did your teacher catch you using ChatGPT? Well, here's the even better AI that'll stop them. So, for example, someone will say like, okay, put your essay in ChatGPT, then put it through Quillbot, and then do it through another AI, and then another AI, and no one will be able to see that you use AI at all. So it always feels like it's an arms race, where we go from a machine telling you, hey, this word could sound better this way, to we've found a way that no human being or any computer will ever find out you did this.
Yeah.
So that there's that whole variable, and where AI, and my person, like, I think America has a very hard time dealing with technology, because a lot of old guys who don't understand what's going on. And this is another example where, like, if it's not well regulated, if it's not used positively, it can go in a direction that can be extremely negative and extremely harmful. And I don't think we've hit that mark yet. For the next like 2 to 3 years, Like if nothing is done and it's just a Wild West, it's just not going to be good because
Yeah.
there's the internet during like the early 2000s to about 2010 was the Wild West to some extent. Like there's so many tales of like people seeing like ISIS like beheadings or finding like or deep web stuff. My point is understanding that AI can be a good thing and a bad thing is the basis.
Mm-hmm.
And then we need to say, how can we raise the good and lower the bad? And that can be through regulation, mainly because, quite frankly, I don't trust people to like always agree on one thing or another. So
Mm-hmm.
you might have an honor code with a company, like Microsoft has one. They have honor codes where they're like, you can't look up this stuff, you can't research this stuff because it doesn't make any sense. Like it would be bad if you did that, or like using ChatGPT. There's an honor code there. But realistically, guys, someone has broken that honor code. Someone's done something wrong. Just like August said. I mean, University of Virginia, UNC, tons of our colleges have honor codes where you're not supposed to cheat. People cheat.
Yeah.
People do other stuff to make themselves have an easier time. So that's why I say like you got to regulate this stuff because people will take shortcuts whenever.
Yeah.
Your the thing you said about like old guys running everything brought back a memory earlier in this year. Do you guys remember the Thug Shaker Central thing that happened?
No,
So
tell me about it.
government it just you probably heard about it, but government documents were leaked on a Discord server called Thug
Oh, never
Shaker
mind.
Central.
I remember.
Um it was a Minecraft Discord server, and the thing that went down was this IT professional was on it, and he was helping the government out with this because the government is all old guys who don't understand anything about technology, so they hire out IT companies. And this one IT guy was like, some guy told him that he wasn't shit, you don't have any credibility or anything like that, and he was like, no, I have government documents, and they're like, fuck you, prove it. And so he was like, okay, here. And he gave out classified
You're
information
so
about the
stupid.
Ukraine-Russia war.
You're
He gave out classified Ukrainian like position data on this Discord because he wanted to impress some guy on a Discord server
I
called
wanted to
Thug
impress a
Shaker.
16-year-old. I'm in Minecraft. Wow. Like, dude, are you actually gonna let a kid get the best of you?
Exactly. Yeah, he gave out. That is
Oh my
still the
God.
funniest thing that has happened
That's
this year.
so bad.
By the way, he wasn't just an IT guy. He was an actual military official. I think he was low ranking, but he was part of like the I don't. He was either part of like the Air Force or some kind of like department, Army, Air Force, whatever. So he worked at the Pentagon, I believe. He worked in that kind of area, and he was just given documents. Like this kid, who I don't know what his credentials were. Maybe he had like the clearance, but he probably could have been like, all right, let me look up like the most like crazy stuff, and then he just could just download it to like a hard drive and take it home.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's another example where it's like, there definitely are like safeguards from the outside coming in, like people like there's like hackers and all that like trying to attack the Pentagon probably all the time. But when there's a guy like Snowden, for example, a guy in the inside who has the credentials, has like the ability to just get around everything, how are you going to stop him? You can't.
Well, you can stop them. It's just we don't
Yeah,
have the sufficient funding and programs to stop them because no one really knows in the government anything about technology. To them,
true.
a hacker is a guy who types on a keyboard and says, "I'm in."
You know, speaking
It's
of all
it's
this AI stuff, Khan Academy did something really recently that I thought was really interesting.
well,
Because like ChatGPT, you can interface with like code, so you can like write code that like calls ChatGPT and like basically like asks ChatGPT stuff and like can use their models and their training and stuff like that. Um, but ChatGPT, like Khan Academy made like their own ChatGPT like AI tutor that students can use. So you can like, if a student wants help on a question on Khan Academy, they can ask the tutor questions, and the tutor won't like if the student asks a question in a way that either directly asks for an answer or phrases it in a way that would require the direct answer to be given, Khan Academy's AI is smart enough to not give them the answer, which is crazy. They figured that out. They figured out how to make that happen. And not only that, they'll help tutor students. So like there was an example. He gave it in a TED Talk. I can send the TED Talk to you guys if you're interested because it's really cool. There was this girl who was writing a book report on The Great Gatsby, and was like, how cool would it be if I just talked to Jay Gatsby himself? And so she went to the Khan Academy tutor bot and said, "Can you be Jay Gatsby?" And the AI became Jay Gatsby. And so she was having a conversation with the student was having a conversation with Jay Gatsby, and would be like, "What did you think of the green light? Why did you? What was your thought process behind the green light on the other side of the dock or whatever like that?" And would ask very personal, have a personal conversation with Jay Gatsby that would get the same information of the symbolism and all that kinds of things, the character development, which I think is I think that's really unique.
That is interesting. I wonder though if it's took information from Spark Notes or Cliff Notes.
Oh, they probably did.
And that's what I'm thinking about. If an AI is able to take information, certain okay, the symbolism of the green light was this, and then it's able to take that only by face value, that's still pretty cool. However, I wonder though, was it able to kind of think a little bit ahead? And was like, oh, this is what it meant, but here's a way I can explain it to someone. And it's
well, yeah, that's what it was done. Because it had to rephrase it as if the AI was Jay Gatsby. It had she had a full on conversation with this chatbot that acted like Jay Gatsby, which is really cool. That's crazy cool. That's if you were having a conversation. That's you were basically having a conversation with the character in the book. The other cool thing that Khan Academy did is if you're a teacher, you can look at a question in Khan Academy, and that AI can be your AITA, where you can ask it how do I explain this wrong answer? If it's a multiple choice question, how do I explain this wrong answer to my students? And it gives you pointers on here's what you could say to your students to help explain why this is the wrong answer. And things like that. It's really cool. It also, if it's tutoring in math, it will think before it outputs. And you can see in, the code, it obviously you wouldn't see it as the user, but there's code on the back end, and you can see this as a developer that, if it's okay, this student is asking me for help on this problem. This problem is testing the distributive property. My first step would be this, this, and this. My second step would be this, blah, 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 blah. Therefore, I should say to the student, and then the output happens. So it's like a chat GPT that thinks before it speaks. Because that's a really important thing about tutoring, right? Is you can't just you have to understand the problem first before you can effectively help the student. So the Khan Academy AI is able to take a student's question, understand what that student is trying to ask, solve the problem itself, and then go back through its work to figure out how to best explain it to the student. That's the coolest. What Khan Academy has done is the coolest application of AI that I've seen ever, and that kind of
and
work.
It's the most benign, most benign and helpful.
Yeah,
which is I guess that could be a benchmark you could say, in saying okay, it doesn't give you the outright answer, both sides of the coin, for the student or the TA. It merely explains, and that's what I think AI should be, where it's give a new perspective. I know this for sure. I stayed up late writing essays. My brain starts, kind of slow down over time. It's harder to think. So if I can tell something hey, I had this idea, could you help explain it to me? And it's oh, here you go. Here's some pointers. Then great. I think people would instantly be oh, what's not as good as just asking it a question and then it give you an answer. But I mean, would you rather in the long term be able to answer a question through your brain and understanding it step by step you would in school, or do you just want somebody to answer your question?
Yeah.
Because I learn that all the time in school, where they're I could give you the answer, but you never will learn the concept.
Right.
So it's kind of just the same thing with AI. Just give me help, and I shall learn.
Yeah.
Or, and hear me out, you could just use ChatGPT to cheat.
Why are you trying to promote things to our viewers that you really should not be promoting? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
Everyone should try math at least once. At least once in their life.
Did you just wait? I'm not gonna lie.
Wait.
At first, I was like, I thought you said everyone should just try math at some point in their life, and I was like, yes, calculus, calculus, yes.
Why would I play Angel's Advocate when I can play Devil's Advocate?
Yeah, or you could just not, or then I could just not invite you back on the podcast if you're gonna do that. You know what I mean?
True. And Trevor, right
And you wouldn't
now,
have any funny bits.
you're the bottom of my screen. So like it's like
Who, August or me?
August is no, you are.
Okay.
So I'm on the right side, so like I'm the angel and August is the devil on your left side. Like it is like
Yeah,
we're,
for
like,
me,
we're-
August is right here, and Henry is right here.
Okay.
It's funny. Yeah. I'm just whispering in Trevor's ear. You should do illegal things.
Yeah,
You
and
should-
then Henry's over here like,
I'm like,
Be the
don't do
good-
that. We need
yeah.
to be in understanding. We have to
invest in
learn.
cryptocurrency.
okay, we ended last episode with like a little game, and I kind of want to end this episode with like a little game.
Okay.
I think that'd be fun. You guys versus me, 20 questions. I'm thinking of an object in my head. Ready, go.
Okay.
You
Is
guys
it
take
a
turns. You guys take turns. Like August can start. August asks a question. Henry asks a question. You guys have to work together to figure out what it is.
Is it a book?
No. I guess I'll also specify, like, I'm not doing, like, proper noun or anything like that. It is a generic, like, thing. Like a classic 20 question type generic thing.
What is it made of?
Dude, have you ever... Oh, I think the whole idea of, like, 20 questions is
question.
it's supposed to be yes, no, maybe. Like, an only answer with yes, no,
Yeah.
maybe.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Is it small?
No.
Okay.
Is it a monitor?
Good guess. No.
I wasn't going for a good guess.
I gotta think about how many questions you guys have asked. 3. Would have been 3 at this point.
Can I find it in my house?
Yes. I'd be shocked if you couldn't.
Is it mustard?
You're really just wasting questions now. No.
Is it a machine?
No.
Is it me?
No. Dude, you're like ruining it. It's basically gonna become 10 questions because I just having to do all the work.
Yeah, Henry.
Is it a food item or
No.
food product?
No.
Okay.
You're at 8 questions. 12 to go. 6 each.
Is it a pen?
No.
Is it a furniture item?
No. Halfway through.
Okay.
Does it feel love?
No.
Okay.
Can I hold it in my hand?
As in with one singular hand or just period? I'll say yeah.
Period.
I'll be honest and I'll say yes, you can hold it in your hands.
Is it a piece of furniture?
So literally Henry has already asked that question.
I'm sorry.
Dude.
A piece of silverware?
No.
Can it hang on your wall?
No. Oh, this is good. August wasted question. I think you're on. I think you guys have answered what? How many have you answered each? I think you guys have 6 left. 3 each. Yeah.
Is it a microphone?
It is not a microphone. 5 questions left.
Per se, on what floor would it be? Can I rephrase that? Let me rephrase
Yes, because I have to answer yes, no, maybe.
that. Can I find it in my bedroom? If it's this long, just say no.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it a bed?
No. Okay,
Or
2
is it-
questions
or-
each.
Oh Lord. Mm.
How about I'll give you a question that I feel like you should have asked because that'll help because you guys have been
Okay.
close. The question, the bonus question I'm gonna give you is it a piece of technology? And the answer is yes.
Oh. Hmm.
Now you each have 2 questions. I think we're in August. So it is a piece of technology.
Hold on, I gotta
Okay.
ask ChatGPT this.
Oh my
Oh my
god,
God.
no, dude.
Okay.
Just play.
Oh,
Hold it
I
in your
got- I got-
hands,
I
but
got-
it's
I
a
got-
physical thing. Is it a keyboard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah,
That's
we
why I
did
felt
it,
weird. I was
Henry.
like, is it
We
in
did
your
it.
room? And I was like, I
You
don't
say
know if he's.
we, boy. I did this.
I was
No,
like,
we did it. We did
you were
it.
like, is it in my room? And I'm like, is he? I hope he's on his computer right now. I hope he's on this call on his computer right now and not like on his phone sideways or something like that. I was like, if he doesn't have a computer in his room, I'm gonna feel cringe for saying yes to that question.
Legit, how you raise your hand like this? I was like, oh, okay. So you'd pick it up like
Yeah.
up like that. Oh, my dog's here.
Yep.
Your dog's here. Let's see your dog.
Georgie,
Hey yo, puppy.
Go,
That's not a
Georgie.
puppy actually. That's a dog.
That's a dog.
That's a dog if I've
dog,
ever seen
dog,
one.
Dog. Look at him, cute. He's so cute. He's so cute.
He's
You're so cute, Georgie.
great.
Okay.
Well, that's a great. Well, we ended with successful 20 questions and a dog. I think that's a great way to end the podcast.
That is
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening. I really thought that we'd have every time we get on the show, I always feel like we're gonna have a hard time meeting. Like I always want the episodes to be like at least 45 minutes, like 45 minutes to an hour. Hour and 11, just like every time we hit it easy. And I was like really worried this because like we have 3 people, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna be good. Nah, it was actually
You
like
have
a
to work
really.
with me in August.
It's actually like
we will create.
That was actually a really
anything.
good. I actually had a lot of fun talking about that like AI segment of the show. That was like a good like 25 minutes there. That was a lot of fun.
They're probably
It's
not
like a
going to
good-
guess we wrote that all using AI. We wrote that entire section.
Nah. Oh shoot. And with that, thank you guys so much for watching GleeSpeak. We're 3 episodes in, and we're gonna keep going strong. Hopefully we'll get more Gleers in the future, but this was a great panel for now. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys later. Goodbye. See you next
Bye-bye.
Sunday. Bye-bye.
Have a good
Next
day.
Sunday. We'll be back next Sunday. We sure will. Goodbye.